The universe of the Elder Scrolls is a mystical and wondrous place where countless legends and numerous stories call their home. It is a place of magic and wonder, where reality meets fantasy. Over the course of the series' 5 games, the stage has been the same: the continent of Tamriel, the home of the 10 races of man, mer, and beast. Hello there, my name is Kurt Lore, and this is the universe of the Elder Scrolls Intro to Tamriel. Tamriel, or Tazukan in Dragon Tongue, is the heart of the Elder Scrolls universe, and the home of many distinct cultures and peoples, each more beautiful than the last. Tamriel's history is a strange one, filled with conflict, strife, magic, betrayal, and various other themes that come together to form an epic timeline. But for now, let's focus on modern-day Tamriel, or when Elder Scrolls V started in the 4th Era 201. At this time, Tamriel can be split up into 9 main provinces: Cyrodiil, home of the Imperials; Blackmarsh, home of the Argonians; Elsewhere, home of the Khajiit; Hammerfell, home of the Redguards; High Rock, home of the Breton; Morrowind, home of the Dunmer; Skyrim, home of the Nords; Valenwood, home of the Bosmer; and the Somerset Isles, home of the pompous Altmer. Now, I know what you may be thinking, but what of the Orcs? Don't they have a home? Orsinium, a proposed 10th province and refuge of the Orsimer, has never been seriously recognized as a true province, so I'll leave it out for now. But don't worry, Orsinium. Like Pluto, you'll always be a planet to me. I think I messed that up. Anyways, all these provinces come together to form a land of unmistakable beauty and splendor. Now let's delve a little bit deeper into these regions. Cyrodiil, also known as the Imperial Province, is the heart of the Empire, a governing power that is present throughout all the 9 provinces of Tamriel. Mostly, anyways. The capital of Cyrodiil and the Empire is the Imperial City, which lies on an island in the center of the province. Within the heart of this city is the White Gold Tower, one of the most widely known and renowned monuments in Tamriel. During the 4th Era, Cyrodiil currently is home of the Imperials, but this wasn't always the case. The Aelids, ancient cousins to all the modern races of Mer, once dominated the province. They built marvelous structures, the ruins of which still inspire and puzzle the people of today. They also founded the first empire ever on Tamriel, but their reign was not meant to be. But that story is for a later date. Now, onto Blackmarsh, or Argonia to the Mer, the capital of which being Stormhold. It is the home of our reptilian friends, the Argonians. It is also home to the Hist, a sentient race of life-giving trees that have formed a strong bond with the Argonians. Blackmarsh is one giant, untamable swamp, though many have tried to conquer it. Both the Empire and the Thalmor have tried to capture and colonize Blackmarsh at one point or another, but to no avail. It's basically a giant death trap that only those towards the reptilian persuasion can endure, which acts as a natural defense, allowing the Argonians to live a somewhat peaceful life. Think of a cross between the deadliness of Australia and the swamps of Florida. Yeah, not a very nice place. If we go a little bit to the west of Blackmarsh, you will reach the land of Elsewhere. It is home to the Khajiit, who are said to have lived there long before the arrival of both men and Mer. Elsewhere is a land dominated by an arid desert to the north and lush tropical forests in the south, with very few major cities, unlike most of the other civilized provinces. The Khajiit themselves are an interesting race. They worship the moons, believing them to be deities, and rely on them heavily in every aspect of their lives. It also controls the appearance of the Khajiit. One thing that is not well known is that not all Khajiit are humanoid-like. The ones that we see in the Elder Scrolls V are Khajiit that were born during the waxing and new phases of the moons. I honestly think this is one of the coolest things Bethesda has done with their races, and believe this to be a reason why the game series has seen so much success. Let's move on to Hammerfell, home of the Redguards. The province is dominated by the Alakir Desert, a vast wasteland where only the strongest survive, which is probably why the Redguards make such great warriors. It is also why much of the province's cities lie along the coast, making it a maritime province. There are some fertile grasslands, however, but, like the cities, they lie mostly along the coasts of the region. Hammerfell is a barren land otherwise, dominated by shifting sands and nomadic tribes. This lifestyle has seemed to give the Redguards a love for travel and adventure, which is why most of them live as sailors, mercenaries, adventurers, and the like. From the deserts of Hammerfell to the mostly temperate forests of High Rock, home of the Bretons and the Orcs, although mostly just the Bretons. The province is divided up into many Breton city-states and minor kingdoms, as well as Orsinium, the Orc city-state. Many others who delve into the lore of Tamriel say that history began in High Rock, where the oldest standing structure, the Adamantine Tower, resides. It was there long before the Aldmer, the first elves, such as the Aelids, settled the region, leading many to believe that it was created by the Aedra, to be a place to discuss the creation of Mundus, the realm that Nirn and Tamriel reside in. Much of that must sound confusing, but I'll get to those topics in due time. Now then, let's move on to Morrowind, a land dominated by the island of Vavardenfell and the ash-spewing Red Mountain. Vavardenfell is mostly a hot and ash-covered place, while mainland Morrowind is covered in warm swamps and fertile plains. In modern times, Morrowind is home to the Dunmer, but this was not always the case. In ancient times, the Dwemer, probably one of the most fascinating races ever to walk on Nirn, resided here, along with the Chimmer, a race of elves that migrated to Morrowind, calling it their Promised Lands. But the two races did not get along very well, until a common enemy united the two. West of Morrowind lies the frozen jewel of Skyrim. It is the northernmost province in Tamriel, and is home to the Nords, a hardy race of men with a long-standing hatred towards all mer races. It's mostly a snowy tundra in the north, but the temperature gets quite mild the farther south you venture. Skyrim is divided up into 9 holds, each ruled by a Jarl, who in turn is ruled by the High King of Skyrim, who is chosen in the Moot. The land is an ancient place, filled with many ruins from many races who previously resided here, such as the Dwemer and the Falmer. It is also filled with ruins from when the land was ruled by the Dragon Cult, an early society revolving around the worship of dragons, through dragon priests who ruled over all those who resided in Skyrim as gods among men. Though, at one point, the men of Skyrim revolted against their dragon overlords in the mythical Dragon War, which saw Alduin, Akatosh's firstborn, defeated atop the throat of the world. From Skyrim, we move south to Valenwood, a province covered in a dense tropical jungle which is home to the Bosmer, or Wood Elves. One unique feature of Valenwood are its gigantic migratory trees, many of which the Bosmer have built cities on. One of these trees, called Fallinisty, is a mile high, and is also the capital of the province. Before the Mer set foot in the jungles of Valenwood, it claimed host to many dozens of wild and fascinating creatures and civilizations, such as centaurs, hydra, fairies, and intelligent apes, who still reside there. Finally, let's visit the Somerset Isles, home of the Altmer, or High Elves, and the Thalmor. It is a province just off the coast of Valenwood, consisting of 14 islands of varying sizes, the most significant of which are Aridon, Artaeum, and Somerset Isle. In the 4th Era 22, the Thalmor, a radical group of Altmer, seized control of the Somerset Isles and renamed them Alinor after the name of the province's capital, but most still just call it the Somerset Isles. The islands themselves were originally inhabited by a race called Slodes, but were driven off by the Aldmer, who the Altmer claim to be descended from. Pompous as always, Altmer. The provinces of Tamriel are very interesting places, each claiming host to a variety of different cultures, races, and religions. But this is what makes Tamriel one of my favorite fantasy lands, and I hope to show you guys how awesome it really is. This was only meant to be a taste of what the world is like, an intro to the universe of the Elder Scrolls. This has been Kurt Lore. Thank you for watching.